All right, everybody, here we are back after a little bit of a break. We had Abe Duque on last week covering for me. Thanks for that, Abe. And we're on. This is John Selway. This is Selway's techno/electro. Let's just call it Electro Saturdays today. I always go back and forth. You know that. I love techno. I love electro. I love all the permutations and combinations of those things and other genres. I just love music. And this is my day to hang out with you guys and make music and have the occasional guest, which we're doing today. I'll bring him on momentarily. You're watching 343 TV, brought to you by 343 Labs, music production school, located in New York and Berlin. And I think we're having some, just like everybody else in right now, it's, you know, the whole Black Friday, Cyber Monday mayhem. And we are having a Black Friday discount. I believe we've got a percentage, up to 35% off everything we're doing. So if you're interested, if you've been thinking, if you've been on the edge about, maybe I could take a course with these guys. You've been watching the stream for a while. You want to get in a little deeper. Go to the website. We've got the link down below, you know, both for our New York location in Berlin and for our online courses, and see what we're up to. That'd be great. You know, I do synthesis and sound design in Ableton Live. We've got composition and arranging and songwriting. We've got, whether you're a beginner or a little bit more advanced, you know, we've got something for you. So come and check out what we're doing. And we have our Discord community, of course. That is also down in the description. If you have not joined already, see what we're doing there. We often do things like sample challenges, and you know, we do giveaways and things like that. Speaking of giveaways, actually this week for 343 TV, we do not have a giveaway. I apologize. I really look forward to being able to announce the winner at the end of each week, but I don't know. I guess the only thing we're plugging right now is the Black Friday sale. So check that out again if you're interested. And all right, let's see what's going on in the chat today. You all got on early. Who was first? Today, first was Josh Holiday. Early bird check-in. Welcome, Josh. You are the winner of the prestige of being first today. And who else is here? Tottentanz. 137. Did I say that right? 137. What's the crack? But hey, you must be Irish if you're saying what's the crack. Hey, what's up, John H. Kingston III from Rockaway Park. William Mind Readers. We got lots of returning members of the chat here. Danica Becker, welcome. Pavel K2 is back. Gustavo Lanzas, hello from Portland. Nice to have you here. And who else is in here? Calico Council. F-Stop is back. You guys are talking about, what are you talking about? F-Stop's the little F character that he's using, and Craig stopped. Who I don't know what you all are going on about. But anyway, nice to have you all here. Absent is back. Welcome back. And of course, Thomas from 343 Labs is in the chat. I believe Max Wild is here. What's up? Daniel Van Tine is back. And Future World Machines. We've got a good crew in here. New Drexian, welcome. Hello. And Hank. Hank is here. Got to have Hank. So, I'm looking forward to our guest, having our guest on today. I've been looking forward to it. He's back for the third time. He's currently the leader in return guests here on my show. Everybody here, I think you know who we're talking about. Welcome to Carl Finlow. What's up, Carl? How's it going?
Hey, John. I'm good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, third time. That's pretty impressive. I'm very happy to be here. So let's get going.
Let's get going. You've got some things that you're going to show us today. We've been talking about how you're using Bitwig and using hardware, and it's still sort of along those lines. But last time we were looking at the Novation circuit, I think, mainly. This time you've got something else.
Yeah, last time we talked about the Novation circuit. That was the sort of portable little unit that I'd had with me writing music very often in my car, as you know. And that was very, very fruitful. I ended up making several albums with it this year. There's an album for CPU and an EP. There's an album for Science Cult and an EP. There's another EP for 2020 Vision, and so on and so on. It, like I said, it was really fruitful, the little innovation circuit. But I wanted more, so I decided I'd go all in and get the Akai Mpc Live, the first version of it. It's got a battery, it's got a touchscreen, you can fit an SSD inside. So it's basically a DAW in a box. So this has given me a massive amount of things to get my teeth stuck into. So that's what I've been doing over the last couple of months, just getting to know this and being away from the computer, which is quite surprising and quite a strange thing for me, because this has everything in it. It has plugins, it has audio, literally almost everything I can do inside the computer, I can do inside the MPC. So I set about writing tracks or sketches with the idea of doing exactly what I did on the Innovation, but with perhaps just more of everything. Mm-hmm. That's what I'll present today, really. Cool. Some ideas I've been working on. These will be tracks that are going to Cultivated Electronics. So I'll flick through a few of those on the MPC first, mm-hmm. and then I can concentrate on one of them and show you how it went from being inside the box to coming inside the computer via the Akai Mpc app.
That sounds great. I'm looking forward to that.
It's a Bitwig. Yeah.
Before we dive into all the details, I mean, we can just hang out a little bit. You were mentioning earlier some of the music that you you had this really good workflow going with the circuit and the stuff that had come out. You have a couple of tracks out recently. There's one original and then a remix. And were these ones that you also used with the circuit?
No, the remix with Fabrice Lig and Wolfgang Flor was that was using the audio that they sent me and then doing everything inside Bitwig. So that wasn't done in the car. That was like a strictly studio project.
Well, I'm gonna put that on. I'm gonna listen to it a little bit. Hopefully the level's gonna be good. Let's see. Just gonna switch to my other view for a second. This is what we're talking about. This is the Carl Finlow remix of a track by Wolfgang Fleur, who is, for those of you who don't know, maybe Carl, you can talk a little bit about.
He's one of the original members of Kraftwerk. That's the long and short of it. I was extremely honoured to be asked to do this remix. It's like bucket list material for me. Doesn't get any higher up in my estimation.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that you got that. And then he's produced this track with another guy that we know who's been around for a while. I'm going to bring the volume down a little bit on that. Fabrice Lig.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember his. He had a project, Bug Orchestra. Do you recall that?
Me? No. I've told you before. I'm so
You're so in your
about
own
music.
world. So but Fabrice Lig has been producing really great music for a long time, and his old Bug Orchestra project, we put out one of his very early tracks on Serotonin back in the 90s. So I've always been kind of partial and following along with what he's been doing. So it was really great to see that him collaborating with Wolfgang Flor and have you do a remix of it. It's really nice.
Yeah, like I say, I was unbelievably honoured to be asked to do it. It's a great package. There's Ectomorph on there as well.
Right.
Who was I can't remember the other remix on there. I'm sorry. A bit of stage fright, bit of nerves.
That's all right. Take a deep breath. I was saying earlier, I do this almost every week, and I still get a little bit of an anxious twinge before I get started, and sometimes my brain just doesn't even work. And I'm honest about it on the air. I'm like, I don't know what to say today. But then it always gets, you relax, things get moving, and everything's fine.
I seem to have run out of words.
What is that from again?
Oh, it was somebody, I can't remember. Maybe I think it was Ricky Gervais was talking about it. Some TV presenter they heard on the radio, they cut to like a local TV thing, and the guy just like blanked, and he just said, "I seem to have run out of words."
I'm listening to the lyrics a little bit, and that's one thing that Wolfgang Fleur writes a lot of songs, doesn't he?
I couldn't tell you. I'll be honest. I couldn't tell you. I only know the original Kraftwerk material.
This is cool. It's an unusual. It's a little bit different kind of a vocal for an electro track. It's a fresh sound to it. Very nice. So let's bring on another one. This is not a original, not a remix. It's the Oberth effects. All right.
This is part of the Exit Planet Earth, right? On 2020.
That's heavy.
Yeah. It's about leaving planet Earth, so the whole concept of the series that 2020 have been doing. So I wanted it to be pretty epic, industrial, spacey, sci-fi, electro. So that's the result.
Yeah, I was saying
it sounds very good, very, very loud.
Oh, I can't wait. I mean, I don't DJ much lately. I was mentioning this yesterday that when I play electro in a DJ set, I tend to go this direction. I mean, I like to have some funk and musical, melodic stuff in there as well, but I really love some driving, futuristic, heavy stuff for the dance floor, especially at a bigger party.
Sure. Well, it's great to be back out on the road as well now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I've noticed lately you've got some gigs happening, and you're playing live?
Yeah, I'm finally getting to hear the tracks that I've been writing all year on big systems.
That's a really important thing to be able to do.
It's all very well sitting in your studio writing countless tracks, but when you hear it on a big system and you see people dancing, it's a totally different thing entirely. I've really missed it, obviously, like everyone. So I'm very happy to be back out on the road.
We've got a question for you from Composite Particles. How was that rhythmic percussive sound made? Which rhythmic percussive sound? I mean, there's about
things. 40. There's about
maybe Composite Particles, if you could try to be a little more specific about describing the sound, and we can give you an answer for that.
Often I'm hitting 40 plus tracks when I do arrangements, so
you might not even remember.
Yeah, I probably won't be able to.
I mean, it's got the bass elements. It's kind of percussive as well. It's got a 16th note noisy repetition, right? It's going,
Yep.
And I wonder if that's what he's talking about.
Possibly.
All right, he says the one that kicks in at 10 seconds. Well, all right, we'll entertain his question. I'm going to jump back at the very beginning, and I assume this is the one we're listening to right now. The
big chugging bass thing.
The big chugging bass. Right back to the beginning. Right there. It's the bass line, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the bass line. I can't. I've written like nearly 4 albums this year. I can't remember what that came from. It's just a blur.
Well, to me, it sounds like the bass sound has a lot of high frequency noise in it, and this happens a lot. I get questions like this in class all the time about when you're making music with synthesizers. One sound can sound like many layers.
Sure.
It might be layers, or it might be one synthesizer doing a complex thing, and so. Yeah, but it sounds like the bass has like a noise on top of it. So if I were making this sound, it would be like, there'd be an oscillator doing a sawtooth wave or something, and then maybe a noise layer on top of that mixed in with it.
Sure.
Or it could be, if you mix a bunch of sawtooth waves that are detuned, it starts to sound bright and noisy. So
I have a feeling, listening to it now, I have a feeling it's Vital. You know that plugin?
Ah, Vital.
You can really get some sharp high frequencies on the sounds. It's an amazing synthesizer.
Well, especially considering you can get it for free.
Yeah.
That's definitely. I think I did a stream with Vital months ago, and I love it. It sounds, really super sharp.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure it's that, thinking back. That's what it sounds like listening to it now. I'm pretty sure that's where it came from.
someone asked if you used the circuit at all on this one. Maybe for drums or something.
I think the kick drum was from the circuit. That's all I can remember coming from the circuit for this.
Nice. Anyway, this is a really great track. I'm definitely
thanks,
gonna.
man.
If anyone ever books me to DJ again, I'll play it. I might have a gig in January, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and we let me just pause that. I don't have my fades set up now. Sorry, it doesn't. It's going to sound a little bit sudden, but
That's okay.
You mentioned Science Cult earlier, and I've been enjoying what they've been doing with the label, and it's great to hear you're doing a release for them. And
yeah, I have an EP and an LP planned. Well, it's all done. It's all finished. So
it's in the pipeline.
It's in the queue. Yeah.
Got it. And I've given them one track. That's how prolific I am. I've given one label one track this year, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. They've got a compilation lined up that I'm on, and
Great.
I think they're hooking
Firing them out.
There's some talk of a Science Cult label night in New York where I might play. So that might be my next gig in January. We'll see how that goes.
That sounds fun. Cool, man.
Nice. So I think we should get into a little bit of what you're doing. Let's get over to your screen share.
Okay.
And
So
tell us what you're going to do.
I'll run through just the sketches that I've been doing on the MPC. I think that's the best way to start it. I'll move the camera down here. You can see that. It won't be a performance or anything, but I'll just be going through the different things that I've written on here. Then I'll be choosing one of them and showing you how I brought it into the main computer, and then how it's developed from there. So, touch wood, you'll hear this now when I press play. So I've loaded up a track. Let's press play. Okay. So it's all touchscreen, the MPC, so I can access track mutes, channel mixer, pad mutes, sampling, all that type of thing. So I'll go to the pad mutes here. I'll just turn these. This is basically turning off the different sequences. So now we're down to the kick. So I've brought in the MPC as you can fit an SSD inside it in the MPC Live. So I've basically brought over all the sample collections I've been using for years, the machine library and the machine extensions, all the drums I'd use normally. I wanted in a sort of portable format. So is it coming through loud enough? Can you hear it?
I think so. Maybe, everybody in the chat, if give us a thumbs up if it's sounding all right. We did our pre-test stream earlier, and Thomas seemed to think the levels were good, so probably all right.
Okay. So, different elements. It's mainly percussive, this one. Some atmospheres.
I told Carl earlier he should just play beats and I'm going to dance in my chair. I like that pad.
So that's one of the first ideas there. So I've built up the rhythms, I've built up bass elements, that type of thing. I can go in and look at individual tracks. I'll show you this in a bit more detail because you're not doing the screen share right now, are you? You can see that.
Everybody can see what you're doing.
Okay.
We should point out right now you're running the software that controls the MPC Live as a plugin inside of Bitwig.
That's right. Due to technical limitations that me and you discovered yesterday, it was the only way that it would run through the Listen To software. So I've had to load it as a plugin inside Bitwig. Let me load up a second track, show you how quickly that is. I go to my favorites folder, which, let's go for number 3, double click that, and it's loading the next one. So I'll mute those things there so we can hear the basic elements coming in and play. Okay, so that's a second idea for the track. Let's go to another one.
That sounds really good.
I'll flick through a bunch of these, and then we'll concentrate on one of them. But these are basically all heading for cultivated electronics, and I've made a point of making all of these at 140 BPM. So I want to get a good selection of, full on late night dance floor kind of what's the generic term? Bangers. I guess. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
That's
back
great.
to
I mean,
the
I love
page.
that label, cultivated. Phil Sync 24.
Yep.
Doing really
It's a
well.
fantastic
Consistent stuff, and it's definitely leans heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the whole point of doing this, really. So
Would you
let's
go
have a listen to
faster
the
than
next one.
140?
I have in the past, yeah.
I love fast electro nowadays. I mean,
Yeah, it seems to be getting faster and faster. My live set at the moment's kind of 130, but ramping up to 140 towards the end of it.
that seems to be the tempo range for for dance floor, both in the electro and techno world. Like you're definitely at the 130 to 140 is a good spot to be right now.
Let's have a listen to this next one. Okay, so this is just the drum group playing here on the Mpc software. We can go into the actual pad mixer.
The drum sounds so sharp. I mean, I know you're picking sounds or making sounds that have that element to them, but do you find that the MPC has a sound?
It's really difficult to say that because it's very, very precise. It's modern, 24-bit, 48K. So it's difficult to say. There are actually filters built into it that you can use to give it the sort of filter characteristics of the older MPC 60s and MPC 2000 and that type of thing. So you can give it that kind of older quality if you're so inclined.
All right, but otherwise it has a real sharp, clean, modern.
Yeah, it sounds very nice to me.
Yeah,
very, very tight.
It's crispy. High frequency detail.
Yeah.
You're killing it with the atmospheric stuff. It's I gotta say, it's tough to balance that kind of spacious atmosphere with heavier, faster beats and not make it too mellow.
Sure. Yeah,
good balancing
it's finding the balance,
act.
isn't it? So that's that one. Let's have a look at the next one.
I'm going to ask you about a sound. Usually it's the chat asking about sounds, but that one big atmospheric sort of boom sound. I mean, what is that?
Is it that one? It's this one.
That guy.
It's called Redux Bell, and
it is bell-like, and it has that little bit of bit reduced high frequency distortion on it. That's a really nice sample. Make a whole new track out of that. Just playing melody like on top.
Yeah, but it's really nice when you play it really low down. It's got some nice frequencies in there.
Yeah, I like this kind of resonant low sounds like that. That's great.
So let's go to number 5. Again, let's go into the track mute, turn most of them off so we can start with just the drums.
While you're doing that, got a nice comment here from F-Stop asking everybody please to go listen to the your Voice Stealer All Electric House LP from '97.
Ah, thanks.
That is a good one. And gosh, it's been 97.
97. I don't even want to count how many years that is.
Nope, we're not counting. We're still young at heart anyway. I think electro helped and techno helped you stay young. That's what I believe. That and exercise and a good diet. Are you using the MPC for live shows?
No.
Wouldn't it make sense though?
At some point, maybe, yeah. I've just not had it that long, and
got it. You want to be really comfortable and practiced with an instrument to perform in public.
Exactly.
Although here you are performing in public.
Okay, so that's the next one there.
This one sounds great.
Cool.
Yeah, someone in the chat named John Cusack, I'm going to guess it's not the actor, says it sounds wicked. Sounding wicked.
That's number 5. Let's load up number 6. So as you can see, it just takes a couple of seconds. It's under 10 seconds to load that there. Turn off those on the mutes.
Yeah.
Start with the drums.
We got a comment here from, well, actually, Binary Function says he was blown away with what you did for a remix of his track "We Will Destroy" on Science Cult.
Yeah. Hey Paul, thanks for tuning in, man. Yeah, it was a pleasure to do that remix. I'm very glad how it turned out. Glad you were so happy with it.
Nice. Welcome. And a regular here, William Mindreader, says he wouldn't use MPC live because there's not much control.
That's one of the aspects. I do like sort of more hands-on. This is basically just like jamming clips, which is, fine. But I do like to throw effects around when I play live. So again, lots of little parts.
Nice change there. And Totentans137, it's cool you can use this as a VST. In the that
we'll
is
get
helpful.
To that in a minute. So that's number 6. Let's have a look at number 7.
We're like getting a preview of like all the next tracks that are coming out. I mean, I love this. I mean, it's all this stuff for
Cultivated Electronics. So
yeah,
it's
so cool.
a bit of a sneak peek, really. So let's go back onto the mute page. Let's mute all of those
when the record comes out, we're going to get all the copyright notices from the distributor on this one. So I have another comment. I think this is about the MPC, but Gustavo says you can map any controller to almost anything, plus the pad muting live sequencing makes it great for live use. So I'm guessing, once you spend some more time with this thing, maybe you will find some features and some real-time control that you could use in a live situation.
The 2.1 update added crazy amount of new stuff to it. You can plug any audio interface into it. So I have my Behringer X18 plugged into it, and it's given me, I can use 18 ins and 18 outs on it.
Amazing.
So you can use this as a central hub in the studio and not have the computer. You can plug any MIDI thing into it. It's got like 2 USB inputs on the back. It's got various 2 MIDI ins, 2 MIDI outs on the back as well.
There you go with the large ambient sounds in the background. It sounds huge.
I wanted this to be darker and sort of a bit more industrial, more on the sort of Silicon Scally end of things. So let's go now to this one, which is track number 1, because that's the one that I've finished an arrangement on.
Got it.
and brought it in. So I'll play that one now. Let's go to the mutes again.
So you're doing a full arrangement in the MPC and then...
No,
just parts.
Yeah, I'll play through the bits here now. Okay, so there's the drum elements. What can you see? So I don't know what you're seeing on screen. You can see I'm torn between what I'm seeing on my screen here and
we're seeing Bitwig and the MPC plugin and your
so you can see
and your
can
camera.
see the drum pattern on the screen there.
Yes.
So that's the drums. Now let me just start that again.
While you're doing that, this is the halfway point of the show. Thanks everybody for tuning in today, joining me and Carl Finlow as he's showing us his workflow with the MPC and Bitwig, and giving us a preview of some of his new tracks. This is really great fun. I'll remind everybody that's a regular, we're not doing a giveaway this week. Sorry about that, but I do want to mention again that we have our Black Friday sale. We've got up to 35% off on all the courses available. So definitely check that out. Links are in the description. Join our Discord. That's also in the description. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel here on YouTube, please do. And that's enough about that. Let's get back to it with Carl.
So there we've got the bass elements coming in over the drums.
So you're kind of muting and unmuting different sections here on the MPC.
That's right. Now there's a melody that can come in.
Nice, like Carl Finlow / Kraftwerk inspired electro melody. It's really nice.
So that's that one. Now, what I want to show you next is how do I get that from inside the MPC into the computer. Now, one thing that you and I discovered this evening is I'm using the MPC in what's called controller mode here, which I don't normally do. Normally when I've done a track, I can go to, there's an export page up here, and I can export as audio stems. Let's see, where is it? Export. You can see this on screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, you can export as a project archive, which is more to do with loading it into other MPCs. You can export all the MIDI sequences. I mean, what the computer is doing here, it's directly connected to the MPC, and the MPC is just acting as a kind of a conduit, really, to access all the parameters within the plugin. Now you can export everything as audio stems. Now, normally when it's not in controller mode, I would have another option here, which would be to export as an Ableton Live project. But because it's in controller mode, and we've only just discovered that this evening, it doesn't show when it's in controller mode. So to cut a long story short, I would select the project to export as an MPC, as an Ableton Live project, and then that will give me this folder here. It's got the song title there, the unnamed at the moment. It would save it as an ALS, which can open in Ableton Live, and all the different elements that have been skimming through there on the mute buttons, they're all now exported, etc. So there's the drums.
Yeah, we won't hear those, I think, because your system audio isn't routed into the stream, but we'll hear them here. So
it saved it.
Someone
it
asked
saved
actually,
it as an Ableton. Yeah, sorry.
Someone asked if your main DAW now was Bitwig, and we were just mentioning that the MPC can export Ableton Live files, but now you are mainly using Bitwig now, and they've just recently added the ability to import Ableton Live files. So
that's right. So that file that we got there, the exported Ableton project, would load into Bitwig now. I could open it in Bitwig, and when I do that, this is what happens. It gives me all of those tracks there, and they come in as clips. So now when I play this inside Bitwig,
Right, just what we were hearing coming straight out of the MPC is now all audio.
So there's the melody, which comes up there. All the individual elements are there. So that's the basic way of getting the rough ideas that I've been working on in the MPC and how I've got them into Bitwig. Now, what I do next, I'm going to have to flip over onto this one and activate the audio on this side. I'll just keep talking while I'm doing this. I have to do that, and then I have to start streaming, and then we should be good to go. So what we're looking at here now is an expanded version of that. The melody is down here. The elements that we were just listening to, they're all in there. So I would then start to expand upon those things that I've brought in from the MPC. So this is when I'd start adding different soft synths. I'd maybe record external gear. So if I play this now, you're going to hear quite a lot of other elements over the top. So let's see.
I see.
What would be the best way to do it? Maybe
So you've already got some new parts added to what was coming from the MPC.
I've spent about a week working on this and getting extra.
What else were you using
bits
to write? Any other gear?
This was mostly one of the things I discovered recently was I've forgotten the name of it now. If I just look on here, let me turn that one off. I'll show you the synth I've been using a lot. NIF Audio, you know this thing?
No. Maybe I'm forgetting.
It's a synth
right.
I think it originates from Finland. A real synth. It's a massive,
the Nifoni,
expensive.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah, I know this.
Well,
I
they
haven't
made
tried
a plugin of it, and it's mind blowing. It's all, I'm running an M1 Mac now as well, and I've been singing its praises, saying how it handled everything. I never see any peaks on the CPU meter. This is the first machine that has really given it a run for its money. I've actually had it cutting out. It's so powerful, this thing.
You need a new Mac M1 to run it full blast.
Yeah. Why can't I hear it now? Have I got something soloed? Okay. It's it has how can I explain it? Inside, where's the view to look at the internals? It's basically, I think it has something like 24 valves inside the original unit, and they've simulated that.
So it's got crazy harmonic distortion.
Exactly.
Going on.
So a lot of the where do I go back to the a lot of the presets, there's percussion and there's sort of standard stuff, but some of them really start pushing through the valves, and you get some very sort of aggressive sounds. So I've been exploring through this. There's this section over here. You can go through triodes and pentodes and different saturations. It's an amazing machine, and I've had a lot of fun with that. So as it's quite aggressive, I've been tending to want to put that on these tracks for cultivated electronics. So this was the first result. So a lot of the sounds that have come from that. So right. So let's just have a quick look through this. So yeah, I've made an arrangement. I've added different sounds from different machines. So let me skim through this now. Sure. So these are different scenes. You can work it in the same manner as Ableton. You can go horizontally like this, but the standard view in Bitwig is to go, from left to right with the clips. I'm just going to skim through the arrangement here so you can hear the different elements. Jump ahead to this next scene with the melody.
Absent asks if everything is always recorded as audio to make the arrangement, or are you using some real-time stuff?
It depends. It varies from track to track. Sometimes I will have I'll have a lot of live VSTs and sometimes live equipment.
But will you, like, even if you're using plugins for synths and stuff like that, will you bounce them to audio before you mix?
No, because I've got the power now with the M1, I can afford to just leave them all on.
Sure.
I did a test yesterday with the Arturia stuff, and I had 20 Jupiter 8s running.
Oh my gosh.
So it's got the power to just leave them on now.
One thing I've thought about, because I'm pretty much the same. I like to, I don't have an M1 yet. I max out my CPU all the time because I like having the plugins and being able to go back and tweak them and do things in real time.
Yeah.
But one thing that has come up is over the years between different systems, as you upgrade, as software changes and updates, as OS changes, and if you have material that maybe you want to keep and go back to, if you don't bounce it to audio, sometimes it's lost because a plugin won't load, or a project will get corrupted and won't load, or it won't be compatible between versions. It's crazy. So do you archive stuff in audio separately? Like, do you stem things out?
No, I don't. I've been quite lucky in I have kind of kept to the same series of plugins over the years, so it's been quite manageable for me.
Okay.
I've never really needed to go back and sort of re-investigate the tracks in that sense. And there's not been many remixes made of my music, so I've never really had to deal with doing
providing parts. Yeah, it's only been an issue. Like we're doing remixes of one of my tracks from the 90s on Serotonin, and I had to basically recreate it to give people parts, like, because it was never, I mean, that's another issue. Like, it was never stems, it was always straight to DAT. And back then it's a whole story, different story. But it just makes me think, like, nowadays, even from like a few years ago, from one OS install to another, I've got some Ableton Live projects that don't load up correctly anymore. And I wish I'd bounced them out. But anyway, I have another question for you from Gustavo Lanzas. How do you find arranging in Bitwig versus Ableton? Because you were using Live before.
Yeah, well, you have two windows. There's different ways of doing it. Like I said, with Ableton, I used to do it this way. I'd create my scenes going down vertically from top to bottom.
Right.
And once I had all the scenes in place, I'd set it into record, and I would flick through the scenes as and when I wanted. And it also gave me the ability to add sort of live tweaking and things as it was going down. So I'd
whole
arrange
session
it
view and that way of working with scenes is sort of originally designed for live performance. And it makes sense if you're going to write a track and you want to have it in a format that's performable. Yeah, it's already ready.
That's right. Now, Bitwig gives you the option of doing it from left to right in a sort of more traditional sense. So you have your scenes laid out that way. But you can also view the arrangement page as well. So I'd record it all down, and then it gives you the arrangement itself there, which is that's the finished thing there. And then you can go in and once the arrangement's there, you can go in and do all the fine tuning like you can in Ableton and all the others really. So that's how that would end up being like that. So that's gone from the MPC imported via the Ableton Live project file into Bitwig, and then stretched out, and lots of extra things added. So that's the way I've been approaching it, and that's the way I'll be doing it with these the series of tracks the series of sketches that I played you earlier.
Right.
I've also got the hardware integrated as well. So let me just solo back onto the MPC. Let's have a look at. Is it worth having a look at the Mpc software itself? I could talk you through that because I've really struggled with it. It's I made the change from Ableton after 17 years to Bitwig, so I've been getting used to Bitwig.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, I've got this whole other door on top of that as well. So I've kind of been scratching my head at times. This is Akai. They've made a really good attempt, but it's only version 2. It's
Sure.
It's a long way off, but it is powerful. If I go on to let's have a look at the melody track, for example.
Okay. So right now, we've sort of switched gears and we're looking at the MPC as a DAW in a way.
Yeah. Now, it has, you can have drum groups. Let's go to, if I change the track there, it's difficult working between the two screens there. So that's a traditional, drum group where you've got different things on all of the pads. Then you have, how would I call it? Another type, which would be spread. This thing here, you've got drum groups, and then you've got this thing here, which is a key group. So that would take a sample. If I go to let me have a look at the program edit and the sample. So, you can't see it on the main screen there. So I would load in whatever sample I wanted. I like using the sort of pure synth tones from sort of classic machines. So I'd load those in there, and then I'd play bass lines and whatnot. And let's see for another. I'll show you. So it's got the drum pads. It's got the key groups, which you can use with samples, and then you can go to. It has its own plugins, built-in plugins. So let's go to a blank track, and we'll set it onto the plug icon there. And when you do that, you get access to these things here. Now, these are built-in plugins within the MPC. So you've got, there's traditional stuff like electric pianos, Rhodes type things. If I open this, you get. Can you see this on screen? You can see the different elements. Okay, so
you can kind of you're loading up devices within the MPC, so you've got different plugins and effects and things.
This isn't in the computer. This is in the actual MPC itself. It's got.
So what we're seeing on your screen, it's an app controlling the hardware.
Yeah. So the plugins are built into the MPC. So it has its own synthesizers as well. Let's have a look.
And that's kind of cool because that's like external DSP. If you've got one of these hooked up through a plugin in your DAW, whether it's Live or Bitwig or whatever, you can use these synths and not put a processor hit on your CPU.
So I don't really use this one. It's a bit more of a sort of trancey type machine, but it's very capable.
Come on, we need some Carl Finlow Electro trance. Let's do it.
So that was that one, and then where do we get the next one? Why is that gone to there? Let's see. MPC plugins. We've got the Solinar string machine.
I like this one. I like classic string synths.
Yeah, if we open it up, it's got all the controls, the original Solinar string machine had. So that's a string machine. Quickly go to the other one, which is a tube synth. This is a bit more aggressive. Let's open that one up.
I'm guessing it's they call it a tube synth. I wonder if it's some kind of physical model.
Possibly. It's got a lot of sections to it, as you can see. I don't even think I can fit it on the screen here. So this is a virtual synth inside the MPC, very capable. It's got lots of, there's effects on the end of it. It's a massive synth.
It makes sense why you were talking about wanting more power, like doing your workflow with the circuit and then moving to this.
Yeah.
You have so much more sort of flexibility with sounds, especially.
That's right. You're not just dealing with samples. And then we've got this, which is an ARP Odyssey, a virtual ARP Odyssey, which, let me see. Let's change the preset on there.
I'm on the fence about buying a hardware Odyssey. It's one of my favorites. But the plugins are pretty decent too. Have you ever tried? Korg does a virtual Odyssey. I'm pretty sure.
I've not tried the Korg one, no.
Yeah, and there's probably some comparisons on YouTube or something. Yeah. But and then there's the Oddity plugin that's been around a while. Did you ever use that? I think it's G Media or something like that.
Oh yeah, long time ago, I think. But then the other thing they added with the recent updates is you've got all these different drum synthesizers. So let's have a look at that.
No, drum synths, that's amazing. I mean,
yeah. So we're not using samples here. We have got
I love how Roland added the FM drum synthesis to the TR8S. That's great.
Yeah, and that's what this is. Yeah, you've got loads of control over the different aspects. Tape saturation. There's different models as well on here.
I would think between the drum synths and the ARP Odyssey in this, you're like,
yep,
it's already like covering a lot of electro production.
Exactly. Yep. So that's the drum synth there. We've got these. Let's have a look at the snare. And I can take this out when I'm traveling. Like I say, right. I like doing things in the car. So
you're like Gary Newman.
Full-on drum synthesizers and virtual plugins inside a box that isn't a computer and that has pads and it has a nice touchscreen. It's a really nice environment to make music in. It's got everything, this thing. So
what doesn't it have? We've got all these pros, right? It sounds good. It's got all this flexibility. Yep. It's portable.
The downside for me would be the sort of arrangement aspect. It depends how you do it. I tend to work in just one sequence, and then that one sequence has various tracks: kick, snare, bass, etc., etc. Now, the way they want you to do it is have your starting elements in sequence 1, and then make sequence 2, which has the same elements in, but it's got like a bass, and then sequence 3, which has, like pattern some additional things.
Sequencing,
exactly, and then you kind of chain those together. But I found it really clunky. After being, with clip launching and stuff, I found it very hard work. It just wasn't intuitive to me.
That makes sense. How does it compare? How would you compare it to the workflow with the circuit and the way it handles patterns and things like that?
The circuit is just beautifully simple. There's no. It's one of the nicest little sequencing user interfaces that I know. For me personally, because you've got no screen, nothing. There's just sort of flashing squares to tell you where you are. If you want to record over 2 bars, you hold 2 blocks down and then hit record, and it will do it over that. If you want to record over 4, you hold 4 down, and then you can jam between those little blocks. It's really, really simple. Now, I know the Akai Force, they've implemented the sort of clip launching thing.
Okay.
The normal MPC doesn't have that, and I think it's something a lot of people are crying out for, because it has a touch screen, as an environment where you could easily
sure. I mean, it seems like something they could add to this.
Yeah.
Probably.
I guess it'll come in the future, but for me at this point, coming into it at this point, I found it really frustrating. That's why I've ended up taking it directly into Bitwig and using the clips there. Also, the Synth Engine, it's let's go back to the melody. So if I have a look at the sound itself, so I'll go to program edit, and then it's very capable. Each pad, I'm just using one sample on here. It's not a multi-sample. It's a Jupiter sample, and I'm playing it chromatically across the keyboard.
Sure.
I could layer it with 4 different samples. So this is on just this one key group.
Right.
And then you've got things like randomizing pitch, randomizing different things like pan and level, etc. Then you've got your envelope section, filter, pitch, amp. But you only have one LFO, which is just so disappointing. There's not an LFO you can put onto the filter.
And is that per layer or? Or is it one LFO
it's
for
shared.
everything?
I think it's shared, yeah. So
you only have one LFO for every modulatable parameter.
Yes. So the same LFO, if I put it onto the pitch, it's exactly the same one that will go onto the.
That's very limiting, especially for this kind of music. I think modulation is so important. It's not just it's not as a lot of times people use an LFO for a vibrato, like one simple little thing, but with certain styles of electronic music, the modulation is part of the composition.
It is.
Does it go audio rate?
No, it goes. It's not far off, is it?
It's close. That's kind of cool. It can go that fast. I like that. But
you've got different waveforms, but it's not. Even though it says no sync there, it will re-trigger every time.
Mm-hmm.
Hear that? It's not like a free-flowing LFO.
This is definitely something they can fix.
Yeah. That would just be great if it was free-flowing LFOs.
Sure. Or, is it polyphonic LFO? Is it LFO per voice? I bet you it's got to be a processing power thing too.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But, a couple of LFOs. I mean, it's running ARP Odysseys, and, it's got plenty of horsepower.
If it can do virtual analog synthesis, it should be able to do a handful of LFOs on a sample.
On a sample, yeah, exactly.
That's it takes less, less power to do that. All right. I agree. That's a con.
So
definitely.
That's where I'm at with it. Really, it's been a nice time getting to know a new piece of equipment and being away from the computer again for a while, and just seeing what I can get done with one box. So I'm happy with the results that have come out of it. These will be expanded to go towards this cultivated electronics thing.
This is great.
Didn't really get into much Bitwig either. It's had a few updates, and they've added all kinds of. The main thing that they've added is how do you explain it? The MIDI note modulators, basically.
Right. I've noticed that their new things they've been adding are really powerful MIDI modulation, MIDI processing.
Yeah, they are. I
can be
really
amazing for experimenting and finding new rhythms and new melodies and new harmonies. So,
yeah, I've been using it on drums because you can basically play one kick and one hi-hat and one snare, and then you can put on these things.
You don't happen to have an example of that. This would be like the last thing.
It would. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I did one. Where would it be if I go to open? It's not that. Where would it be if I close this off?
While you're looking into that, we were talking about the Euphonium a little bit earlier, and Pavel K2 points out that Plugin Alliance is having a Black Friday. Any plugin for $29.99, that might be a good one. Then Euphonium might be a good one to get for that deal.
That's where I got it.
Yeah,
I got it for 35 euros or something like that instead of $2.99, or it was a ridiculous bargain, so I had to snap it up.
I think I might have to do that.
As they say on the cookery programs, here's one I made earlier.
Here's one you made earlier, right?
Okay, let's have a look at what we've got here. So I'll just do this quickly. So that's a kick drum. Let's see. I'm going to mute these. So we just got kick and snare. Can you hear that?
And you need to get your listen to plugin going again.
Oh yeah, God, I forgot about that. Okay, so that's going to be there, and that's in the favorites, and it should be. Why don't I see audio effects?
And while you're doing that, I'm like buying Euphonium. I don't want to
Yeah,
forget. I'm going to forget if I
have
don't
to.
do it. I need that.
It's amazing. There, I'll put that on there. I'll log in. I'll start streaming. So now. So, can you hear that?
Still no. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. We're good.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay. So, I've got nothing on the kick and snare there, but what I do have here, I'm going to turn it off first of all. I'm just going to play what the hat is doing. Can you hear that hat?
Yep.
Okay, it's just really... All it is, you have to give it a long note.
I see.
Right? Then we have a look at this thing. This is the new note repeat thing. So, it's difficult to explain in just a couple of minutes. There's a density, okay? I've told it to, let's drop it right down here.
I'm gonna move your little your camera so people,
Sure.
because it's covering up the plugin.
Okay, so this note repeats here. I've just told it to repeat 4 times, and I've brought the density down. If I take the density up now, you'll see them little yellow arms sort of getting bigger, so you can hear it putting. If I have it all the way down, you're just getting a very, very basic version. If I turn it up, you're getting more kind of interaction.
Is the velocity happening inside of that device? Like, is it each note's changing velocity?
That's with this thing here, accents.
Great.
So you can hear just out of that one hi-hat now, we've got a nice sort of movement on a hi-hat pattern. Now let's have a look at rim part here. This is another one that I've set up. I'll turn that one off so you can just hear the rim on its own. Okay?
Yep.
Very straightforward. Now if I turn on the note repeats, so it's doing this on its own based on the settings that I've given it there.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I've got an LFO on here attached to this density here. Okay. So if I turn up the, here we go. This is the amount on the LFO. So the density here is gonna affect. Well, if I turn it up now, you can hear it's added loads of things. If I bring it down,
Got it.
there's not much going on. So I've assigned an LFO to that, one of the modulators. So if I turn that on now, and then I turn the LFO up.
So it's changing the density.
The LFO is changing the density of where the rim is playing.
So you're gonna get a constant evolution of the rhythm.
Exactly. Now let's have a look at this one here. I've got Omnisphere. Now this is just going to be playing a note. Okay. Now one of the things we could do is put on a multi-note, which is like a chord type thing. So I'll stick that on. So just from the one note we've got that. Now I'm going to put the note repeat on now. Now we've got this other thing called strum. It's probably not the best example to put strum on. Strum came from the Arturia key steps. Basically, when you play a note on the keyboard, it staggers the way the notes fall as if you were strumming a string on guitars. So you can get some nice effects with that. There's another thing called ricochet. I'm not quite sure how I've got that set up.
Is that going to do the bouncing kind of thing?
Yeah, it's not a good sound to be trying.
Yeah, that needs
really.
to be on something short and percussive, probably.
Exactly, yeah. So you can get it running around. It's a bit too abstract for me, that one, because the timing is kind of too off the grid for me.
Got it.
So that will be that one. And then what have we got here? We've got something on Hive. Let's have a look at that one. Turn the note repeat off. So now I'll put the note repeats on. So it's a long note, and then So it's transformed that sound into that.
Sure.
So you can get all kinds of really unusual kind of rhythms. I've put it through a transposition map here as well.
I gotta say, it makes total sense to use technology to help create creative ideas for electro music.
And again,
it fits
this
the
is
vibe.
just single notes.
Yeah.
This, like I talked about last time, I'm not doing. There's no sequences here. There's no patterns as such. These are just single sustained notes.
Mm-hmm.
But Bitwig allows you to use all these modulators to get all these really unusual sort of happy accidents coming out. A much more organic kind of way of working. So I'm trying to get my head into that. Plus working with the MPC, and I've just got the Arturia Micro Freak this week as well. So I've got.
We're gonna have to have you back after you've spent some time.
I've got lots
with
of
the
things
Micro
to be
Freak.
getting. I've took off a bit more than I can chew, I think. So I'm kind of burning the midnight oil, trying to get it all working at the same time.
Well, let's give you a break now. We're over an hour. We've covered so much. Carl, if you don't mind switching your camera back so we can
sure, yeah. Let's see.
ya.
What have you been looking at? You've been looking down there. Let's swing there. Can you see me? Okay.
The man himself again. Oh, a little bit high. Bring it down a little bit.
There.
I see. All right.
A bit lower.
Good enough.
There we go. That's
really,
okay, isn't it?
Really great having you again on the show. It's been fun. I enjoy hanging out and nerding out about music production and electro and everything.
Man, I enjoy it too. It's I don't get a chance to talk to anyone about this kind of stuff, so it's a nice release for me, really.
Excellent.
I'm always happy to talk about equipment and the ways of doing things.
Well, you're welcome back anytime. Love to have you.
Sure. Well, I'm leader now. You said I'm leader. This is my third appearance.
Right.
So there's no one had 4 yet.
Maybe I might be miscounting. You might be tied with Christian Smith. I have to look. I have to go back and look at the history.
I'll definitely do another one then to beat Christian.
All right.
That's a challenge.
So thanks again. Thanks to everybody here in the chat.
Thanks
some great
everybody.
Questions, some good interaction.
Thanks for
here.
tuning in.
Check out 343 Labs and all the courses we have coming up. Of course, we have our own one more time about the Black Friday thing. We have our courses on sale for up to 35%. So definitely, if you've been thinking about it, now's a good time. And that's going to be it. I'm going to sign off and see you guys next week. Have a good one, Carl. Have a good one, everybody. Adios.
Live long and prosper.
And totally nerd out. Yes. Bye. Bye.